Sai Ram. On the 25th of December 1961, Professor Narayan Kasturi, the editor of the Sanatana Sarathi, received a letter from Ramana Maharshi's ashram, the Ramanashram, in Tiruvannamalai. Now we know the Sanatana Sarathi is the official magazine from Prashantinilayam, which has been initiated by our dear Swami, Bhagawan Sri Sathya Sai Baba himself in 1958. Now this letter was written on the 23rd of December 1961 by a certain Swami Abhedananda. Now Swami Abhedananda is quite a common name, and if you do an internet search for it, you will come across multiple Swami Abhedanandas. Now this is a Swami Abhedananda that is closest to my heart, and you will understand very soon why. So he writes to Professor Kasturi, "Dear Atma," that is how he addresses him. And then he says, "I have known for quite a while the Leelas and Mahimas of Bhagawan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. However, hearsay is not very positive and does not convey a very good opinion of him. Recently, about 10 days ago, I happened to read the Satyam Shivam Sundaram. Now the Satyam Shivam Sundaram is a biography of our beloved Swami. It has been written, authored, or shall I say Swami has given the opportunity to write to Professor Narayan Kasturi himself. Now how Professor Narayan Kasturi became a biographer for Swami and how he came to Swami itself is a very humorous and very interesting and insightful episode. I have covered that in detail at this link above. Swami Abhedananda writes, "Having read that, I am convinced that there is this divine being in Puttaparthi and I would love to come and have darshan." He also writes, "I know Swami Amritananda ji very well. I knew him very well. We were companions before he left the Ramanashram. He never told me about our liberator." He is calling Swami as our liberator. Why? And who is this Swami Amritananda? Well, I think Swami Abhedananda must have heard about Swami Amritananda and his experience at Prashantinilayam later on. Because Swami Amritananda, another disciple of Bhagawan Ramana Maharshi who stayed with Ramana Maharshi for 17 years, achieved the fulfillment of his life and got the fruits of the most important sadhana of his life from our dear Swami. That is another fantastic story which you can see at this link above. Swami Abhedananda writes, "Now I am still filled with doubts and my body is decrepit and old at 76 years of age. I cannot stay away from the summum bonum of life, the ultimate gift of life, for much longer, and therefore I would like to come and have darshan. When can I come?" Now as Professor Kasturi receives this letter on the 25th of December, he looks for an opportunity when he can convey this to Swami. And when he gets that opportunity, he tells Swami about this whole thing and asks, "Swami, what shall I reply to him?" And Swami tells Professor Kasturi, "I will be here for a week. Tell him that." Now you see, this episode has been recorded in two different places with different details. I have combined both of them and I am presenting them to you. This has been recorded in the book God in Action, which is a collection of the talks delivered by Professor Narayan Kasturi. That is one source. The other source is the March 1962 issue of the Sanatana Sarathi, where Professor Narayan Kasturi has written this as an article. So when Swami tells him to inform that he will be there for a week, that is precisely what Professor Kasturi decides to do. He does not want to tell him come, because Swami did not tell him to come. He does not want to tell him don't come, because Swami did not tell him not to come. He just wants to tell him Swami will be here for a week. But even before he can write that letter to Swami Abhedananda, he receives a second letter from Swami Abhedananda, and this mail takes away the breath of Professor Kasturi, just as it will take away our breaths as well. There is an intimate and deep connection between Bhagawan Ramana Maharshi and Bhagawan Sri Sathya Sai Baba as recorded by two devotees, Sri Varadu and Sri Krishna, who happened to be with Swami when this episode happened. It was the 14th of April 1950, around 9 pm at night, when Swami in the Patha Mandiram suddenly became stiff and collapsed in a trance. Luckily, these two devotees were on either side of Swami and they held his body, which became lifeless and as stiff as wood. Suddenly, the right sole of Swami's right foot split open and from it poured copious amounts of vibhuti, 2 kilograms of vibhuti. And it was as if Swami is almost levitating because they barely felt his weight on their arms. They gently placed Swami on a bed, and then after a while Swami came back from this trance and he said, "Ramana Maharshi has merged into me." It was only 2 days later that they got the news of Bhagawan Ramana Maharshi having given up the body on the 14th of April 1950, a few minutes before 9 pm. Whether expressed explicitly or not, every divine being knows about the divinity of Bhagawan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. For instance, when we look at Sri Aurobindo Ghosh, he too had foretold the arrival of Bhagawan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. In case you missed that video, that is there at this link above. So Swami Abhedananda writes a second letter to Professor Kasturi, which reaches Professor Kasturi towards the end of December 1961. And in that he writes that when he went to bed on the night of the 27th of December in his small room at Ramanashram, he was woken up in the early hours of the morning on the 28th December between 3 am to 4 am. 4 am is the beginning of the Brahma Muhurta, as we all know. He woke up, he was not feeling like going back to sleep. It was pitch dark all around, and he suddenly felt a pat on his head. And he says the pat was firm yet bearable. It was a firm pat, hard pat, yet it was bearable. And he wondered, who is this? So he quickly got up and switched on the light. There was nobody in the room. And then, right before his eyes, appears the gaseous form of Bhagawan Ramana Maharshi. Yes, these are the words that he uses. The gaseous form of Bhagawan Ramana Maharshi. And he's unable to believe his eyes. He's having the darshan of his Guru. And there, even as he's enjoying that gaseous form of Ramana Maharshi changes into the gaseous form of Bhagawan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. So this is the first time he's having darshan. He yearned to have darshan of Swami. He had written to Professor Kasturi, when can I have darshan? And before he could even come and have darshan, Swami had come there and granted him darshan. He was thrilled beyond doubt. And then this gaseous form of Swami changed again to Ramana, again to Swami, and after a few times, it became a bright ball of light. And then it was all gone. And he felt bliss fill his being. He was thrilled that he had the darshan of both his gurus. He had already accepted Swami as his guru by now. That's how he writes in the letter. All this happened in a matter of seconds. And then he heard a voice which said, "Do not get agitated. Don't meditate. Simply watch the mind and it will disappear. Understand that the watcher is awareness, pure and unadulterated, abstract and absolute. Awareness is self. This self is Sachidananda. Thou art that, Tat Tvamasi. This is the secondless peace which you ardently seek. Be firm. Bliss is thyself. This secret is known only through one's own intuition. The stroke will reveal the secret. Just watch." What is very interesting, dear brothers and sisters, is that knock on his head was hard yet bearable. That is how Swami comes into our lives. He awakens us, he wakes us up from the slumber of ignorance and the darkness of ignorance with a knock on the head. The knock has to be hard because it has to wake us up. This hard knock can come as different tragedies, as financial tragedies, as health tragedies, as relationship tragedies, different things. And yet, they will not wipe us out because that knock is still bearable. because of His grace and the blessings that He pours on us after that. Needless to say, even before Professor Kasturi could reply, in the next couple of days, Swami Abhedananda was in Prashantinilayam Puttaparthi. And when he came there, Swami blessed him with 4 separate interviews. And Professor Kasturi was not privy to what happened in the interviews. But after all of this, when Swami Abhedananda returned back to Ramanashram, Professor Kasturi received a 3rd letter from him. This was on the 5th of February 1962. You can imagine the joy that coursed through Professor Kasturi, because in the next month's issue, that is in March 1962, he has published this entire story. In that letter, Swami Abhedananda writes that Bhagawan Sri Sathya Sai Baba is the absolute abstract love that has molded itself into the human form. And his love is not limited only to human beings. It pervades and it encompasses the animal kingdom as well and the inanimate things as well. Such love is something I have never experienced. I am convinced that he is not just an avatar. He is the absolute Parabrahman. And then he makes a revelation. He says, you see, I have always been a person who followed the Nirakara, the Nirguna aspect of God, the formless aspect of God, because I was convinced that the form always deludes. The form is Maya. It's a delusion, it's an illusion. This is what I had always considered. But in that final interview, Swami gave me the darshan of the dazzling Murlidhara Krishna, the Krishna who is holding and playing the beautiful flute. That is a splendorous experience that I can never forget. I can even feel that right now. And it has changed my perspective. I know that the Saguna aspect of the Lord is equally powerful as the Nirguna aspect. And my eyes have been opened. I feel great strength and energy in my body. All my doubts have dissolved and dissipated. I am enjoying bliss every day, nay, every moment of my life. Dear brothers and sisters, we come to Swami seeking solutions to our problems, seeking health, seeking wealth, seeking relationships, asking for so many things. But Swami tells us, I give you what you seek, so that one day you will seek what I have come to give. Let us remember that all of these things that we seek, the worldly things, can give us only temporary satisfaction and joy. What we have got is the ultimate Parabrahman, as Swami Abhedananda describes. Let us not make the mistake of asking for low and cheap things from him. Let us ask Swami for the ultimate peace, the secondless peace, the ultimate joy, bliss, Brahmananda itself, because Brahman alone can confer Brahmananda. Let us not settle for anything less. Having got the ultimate prize in the universe, let us not settle for anything less. Let us have complete faith in Swami, offer him our love and seek from him only him, nothing else. Dear Swami, we want you, we need you, we need nothing else, because having got you, what else do we need in our lives? Dear Swami, may the love that we have for you in our hearts keep growing stronger every passing moment. Thank you. Jai Sai Ram.